Shedeur Sanders is the most talked about quarterback in the NFL, and he hasn't even started a regular season game yet. Let that settle in for a second. No MVP awards, no playoff wins, no Sunday Night Football heroics, yet. But somehow this rookie QB from Colorado has become the center of a full-blown NFL power struggle between two franchises, one that doesn't know what to do with him, and another that's ready to give up the moon just to get him in the building. Because now, in a twist no one saw coming, the Green Bay Packers have made a serious play for Shedeur Sanders. Multiple first-round picks. Veteran playmakers. An offer that screams, "We believe in this kid more than you do." And the Cleveland Browns? They're confused, torn. Wrestling with what might be the most high-stakes decision in the franchise's modern history. Because make no mistake, this isn't just a trade-off.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
This is a wake-up call. Let's backtrack for a second. Who is Shedeur Sanders, and why is the NFL having a collective meltdown over his potential? Simple. He's the son of a legend, Deion Primetime Sanders, but he's more than that. Shedeur's got that rare mix of raw talent and polished poise. Quick release. Deep ball accuracy. Pocket awareness well beyond his years. But more than anything, he has leadership presence. The kind you can't teach. The kind that turns locker rooms into loyal armies and fan bases into believers. And Cleveland has him. Right now. On their roster. Practicing. Sitting. Waiting. While the offense sputters, the fans scream, and the coaching staff shrugs. Meanwhile, Green Bay is banging on the door, practically screaming, "If you don't want him, we'll take him." They're not offering peanuts. This is real capital, top-tier picks, quality veterans, everything short of naming a street after him. This isn't window shopping. This is a full-court press from a historically conservative franchise known for grooming quarterbacks slowly and methodically. And they're ready to throw all that tradition out the window for Shedeur Sanders. Think about that. The team that waited 3 years to start Aaron Rodgers is now willing to break the bank for a quarterback who's been benched in Cleveland for reasons nobody can quite explain. Well, almost nobody. Because there's one man in the building who seems perfectly comfortable keeping Shedeur sidelined, and that's Kevin Stefanski. Now, Stefanski hasn't said it directly, but his actions speak louder than any press conference. The Browns have been struggling offensively. Fans are restless. Players have voiced quiet frustration. Analysts are starting to openly question the direction of the team. And through it all, Shedeur sits. No starts. No packages. No meaningful snaps. It's baffling. You've got a franchise that has spent decades searching for a quarterback to believe in. They finally have one, marketable, talented, respected by teammates, and instead of building around him, they're entertaining offers to ship him out. You couldn't script this level of dysfunction if you tried. And look, no one's denying that Stefanski has a right to run his system. He's a smart football mind. But when the house is burning and you've got a fire hose in the corner, you don't keep waiting for a better time to use it. You grab it, you turn it on, and you try to save the damn house. That's where Cleveland is right now. Smoke in the walls. Foundation cracking. And Shedeur Sanders, their best shot at salvation, is holding the hose, waiting for permission to start. Meanwhile, Green Bay has already cleared the path. If Cleveland says yes, Shedeur lands in a system designed to nurture quarterbacks. A city that reveres them. A coaching staff willing to adapt to their strengths instead of forcing them into outdated molds. And most importantly, a fan base that's ready to believe again. Honestly, can you blame the Packers for trying? They've got Jordan Love, sure. But he hasn't convinced anyone yet. There are flashes, moments, but nothing you build statues for. So when you see a quarterback with Shedeur's profile being ignored by a team desperate for offense, you pick up the phone. And the longer Cleveland hesitates, the worse it looks. This isn't just a talent issue anymore. It's organizational philosophy versus reality. Cleveland is still acting like they're one good scheme away from contending. Green Bay sees things differently. They know when it's time to roll the dice on talent that could transform everything. And that's the thing about Sanders. He's not just a quarterback. He's a shift, a pivot in culture, a change in trajectory. The kind of player who makes people buy tickets, stay up for late games, and tune into press conferences like their appointment television. He has the star power and the mental makeup to carry a team, a city, and a brand. And while the Browns sit on that potential like it's a long-term savings bond, the rest of the league is watching with wide eyes, wondering if they're really going to let him slip away. So now the Browns are at a crossroads. Let's lay out the options. Option 1. Take Green Bay's Godfather offer. Restock the cupboard. Collect picks. Grab a few useful pieces. Hope that, once again, you can build a contender from scratch. But that's the same old Cleveland playbook. Hit reset. Hope the future looks better. Maybe this time it will. Maybe it won't. Option 2, shut down the trade talks. Stand up to the noise. And start Shedeur now. Let him lead. Let him take hits. Let him make plays. Let him fail even, but at least let him try. Because right now, the Browns aren't just sitting on talent. They're sitting on hope. And if you trade that hope before it ever takes the field, you don't just lose a player, you lose your identity, your credibility, your soul. No amount of first-round picks can fix that. And here's the kicker, Shedeur Sanders is ready. He's not some project. He's not some wide-eyed rookie begging for playing time. He's composed, strategic, fully aware of the stakes. He's handled the media pressure like a 10-year vet, kept the locker room engaged and never once flinched, even as his name swirled in trade rumors and coaching drama. That's exactly who you want under center. And if Cleveland doesn't see it, Green Bay does. So does half the league. This isn't a situation where both sides walk away happy. Someone's going to lose. Badly. If the Browns trade Shedeur and he becomes a star, it'll be the biggest mistake since they passed on Mahomes. And fans won't forget. They'll wear it like a scar. But if they start him and he becomes the guy, this entire chapter rewrites itself. Stefanski looks like a visionary. The front office looks bold. The fans get redemption. And Cleveland finally gets a quarterback who lasts. So what's it going to be? Another rebuild? Or a revolution? Only one of those options gets you out of the cycle. So let Shedeur play. Let the kid breathe. Let the fans believe. Because if the Browns don't, the Packers are waiting. And Shedeur Sanders? He's already packed. What do you think? Should the Browns trade away their future for draft picks and proven talent, or should they take the leap and start Shedeur now before it's too late? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Smash that subscribe button for more unfiltered drama from around the league. Because this story? Oh, it's just getting started. The NFL isn't just about football anymore. It's about power, narratives, control. And right now, the most powerful narrative in the league is unfolding in Cleveland, where everyone has an opinion but no one seems to be in charge. Let's start with what we know. Shedeur Sanders, by every measurable standard, leadership, athleticism, marketability, poise, is a dream draft pick. The kind of quarterback franchises build billboards around. The kind of player GMs risk their careers for. The kind of athlete who moves merchandise, wins games, and makes 8-year-olds want to throw spirals in the backyard again. So how did this player, this rare combination of skill and spotlight, end up sitting behind an offense that looks like it's being run through dial-up internet? How did he become the subject of a desperate trade pursuit from one of the smartest franchises in the NFL, while the team that drafted him refuses to even let him touch the field? It's madness. And Green Bay? They know it. They're not acting out of impulse here. They're operating like a team that's been watching every snap, every report, every frustrated press conference from Berea, Ohio, and thinking, this is our moment. We can steal him. And that's what this is, a heist in progress. Make no mistake, Green Bay sees Shedeur Sanders as the crown jewel of this next generation. The type of quarterback who can pull them out of post-Rodgers limbo and launch them into a new dynasty era. A fresh identity. A new chapter in that old storied book called Lambeau. They're not waiting around to see if Cleveland figures it out. They're betting that Cleveland won't. That's the scariest part, isn't it? Because if you, the fans, can see what Shedeur could become. If analysts, scouts, former players, and national media outlets can all agree that he's ready, or at least worth seeing, why can't the Browns? What is this organization so afraid of? Failure? Pressure? Proving a coach wrong? Or is it worse? Is it that they've grown comfortable in dysfunction? Because here's what happens when you let fear guide your decisions. You don't just miss out on greatness. You invite irrelevance. You become the team that had it all and gave it away before the fireworks ever started. And if you don't think that kind of mistake haunts a franchise, go ask Chicago how often they hear Mahomes' name. Let's be clear, this Shedeur drama is bigger than football. It's about perception. If the Browns trade him before giving him a real shot, what does that say to the locker room? To fans? To future free agents? To every draft pick that comes in thinking, if I work hard, I'll get my shot? It says don't believe the hype. It says even if you're ready, you still might not get your chance. It says, we don't trust what we built. And that is devastating. Meanwhile, Green Bay is promising the opposite. A clean slate. A team built around you. Coaches willing to evolve. Fans foaming at the mouth for a spark. An offensive line that can actually keep you upright. A playbook with room to breathe. Green Bay is saying, you don't have to wait for your future. We're ready now. That's seductive. And Shedeur has been nothing if not patient. Let's talk about that for a second because he deserves the credit. With all this swirling around him, trade rumors, fan pressure, the coaching staff essentially ghosting him, he hasn't cracked. Not even close. No tantrums. No vague tweets. No passive-aggressive media shots. He shows up. Practices hard. Leads the scout team like it's the Super Bowl. Hypes up his teammates. Keeps his head down and his work ethic up. He's done everything right. And in return? Cleveland's answer has been, maybe next week. You don't do that to players like Shedeur Sanders. You don't tell the future to wait while the present flounders on national television. You build around guys like this. You give them the stage. You let them fail if they must, but you let them play. Because what's the alternative? You ship him off to Green Bay and watch him become the new face of one of the most respected franchises in football? You watch him make Pro Bowls and playoff runs in a jersey that wasn't supposed to be his? You turn on ESPN and see his highlights every week, while you're back to the drawing board. Again. Looking at scouting reports. Again. Selling hope instead of just playing the kid that already represents it. Look, Cleveland fans have suffered enough. You know this. Quarterback after quarterback. Bust after bust. The jersey list with names crossed out like a Game of Thrones hit list. And now, you finally have a chance to end that cycle. Not just with talent but with leadership. Composure. Swagger that doesn't need to be loud to be lethal. You're sitting on a golden ticket and you're thinking about trading it? It's madness. But here's the thing, you can still stop the bleeding. The trade doesn't have to happen. Stefanski doesn't have to be right. Ownership doesn't need to justify the wait. Just hand Shedeur the keys. Let him drive. Will there be bumps? Of course. Will he make mistakes? Probably. But will you know if he's worth it after just one game? You won't. You'll know after 2. Or 3. Or 10. That's how greatness works. It unfolds. It evolves. Tests you. But you've got to give it the opportunity to bloom. Because right now, Shedeur Sanders is a flower growing through concrete. And every day you keep him on the bench, you're stomping on that potential just a little harder. Meanwhile, Green Bay is sitting in the shade, watering the soil, waiting to plant the future. So Browns brass, this is it. This is your moment. You can either lean in and build a legacy around a young star. Or you can fold, reset, and hope nobody remembers what you gave away. Spoiler alert, they will remember. They always do. Just ask every team that watched their former QB hoist a Lombardi elsewhere. And you know what the worst part is? Shedeur Sanders is giving you every reason to believe. He's not forcing the issue. He's not burning bridges. He's quietly, professionally waiting for you to wake up. You better do it soon. Because if Green Bay gets him, you'll hear about it every season. On every highlight. In every analyst segment. In every what could have been story. And deep down, you'll know it didn't have to be this way. So here's the final word. Let him play. Let Shedeur step onto the field and own it. Let the fans finally exhale. Let the team find its identity. Let the city believe. Because Shedeur Sanders isn't the future anymore. He's the present. You just need the courage to embrace it. We're talking about a rookie quarterback becoming the centerpiece of the most high-stakes NFL tug-of-war in recent memory. And not just any rookie. Shedeur Sanders who, let's be honest, feels more like a cultural event than a backup quarterback at this point. You could argue he hasn't thrown a single NFL touchdown yet. And you'd be right. But what other quarterback has done so much without doing anything? Let's take a breath and actually look at what this moment is. You've got a generational QB prospect sitting on the bench in Cleveland, with the entire league watching in disbelief, while one of the most respected front offices in football, the Green Bay Packers, is offering a historic trade package to get him. That's not normal. That doesn't happen. You don't see teams offer this much for an unproven player unless they see something game-changing. Something franchise-altering. And Shedeur? He's exactly that. Let's look at the blueprint. The guy has all the tools: vision, decision-making, athleticism, arm talent, charisma, leadership, and he's media-savvy on top of it. You don't find that. Not in one package. Not ready-made like this. And the fact that the Browns are still hesitating, after all the offensive struggles, after all the criticism, after all the public pressure, is frankly baffling. Because let's call it what it is. They're scared. Scared of being wrong. Scared of breaking structure. Scared of admitting that maybe, just maybe, they've been sitting on the answer this whole time. And while Cleveland stands paralyzed, Green Bay is already moving chess pieces. They've done the film study. They've talked to the agents. They've lined up the trade packages. They're not just kicking tires, they're ready to park the damn car. You think they're offering multiple first-rounders because they're panicking? No, they're making an investment. Because they know quarterbacks like Shedeur don't stay on the clearance shelf for long. If Cleveland won't use him, someone else will. And that team? That team gets the show. That team gets the primetime game bump. The jersey sales. The highlight reels. The future. Now, let's not let Green Bay off the hook completely. They've got their own reasons for this push. Jordan Love was supposed to be the heir. The guy. The next chapter in their QB fairy tale. And sure, he's had moments. But moments don't win championships. Moments don't sell out seasons. And moments definitely don't lock down 10-year contracts. What they see in Shedeur is more than potential. They see inevitability. And when that kind of player is wasting away on someone else's depth chart, you don't hesitate. You call. You deal. You take him. That's what's on the table right now. A quarterback who could define the next era of the league and two franchises on a collision course. One is desperate to break its curse. The other? Desperate not to repeat it. Let's go deeper into Cleveland's mindset, because the debate in Berea is ripping the organization in half. You've got the build for the long-term crowd. The scouts and player development people who've watched Shedeur closely and are begging to see him start. They see his control in the pocket, his accuracy, his poise in chaotic moments during practice. They know he's ready. Then you've got the Stefanski loyalists, the trust the process group. The ones saying, he's not ready yet. We can't panic. We have to stick with the system. And that's how franchises rot from the inside out. When fear of being wrong outweighs the desire to be right. What are they so afraid of? That Sanders might struggle? That he might lose a game? Guess what? You're already losing games. What exactly are you protecting him from? Let the kid take the field. Let him lead. Let him learn. Worst case scenario? He's not perfect. Cool. That's football. Best case scenario? You just unleashed a star. Because Shedeur doesn't just play well, he plays loud. He makes plays that get retweeted. That lead shows. That make cities fall in love with football again. And you don't bench that kind of player unless you're protecting something more important than a scoreboard. You're protecting your ego. Let's be blunt. If Shedeur Sanders walks onto that field and lights it up, Stefanski and company are going to look very, very bad. Because this isn't week 1 anymore. This is halfway through a miserable offensive stretch, with the team limping and lifeless. The longer you wait to play him, the more it looks like pride is the problem. And pride doesn't win championships. Pride just fills post-game quotes with hollow excuses. Meanwhile, Sanders is doing his part. Still showing up early. Still doing film work. Still grinding in practice. Still shaking hands, mentoring rookies, staying camera ready without acting like the camera's there for him. He's been flawless in how he's handled this. And somehow that's part of the problem. Because if he were a diva, if he popped off on Instagram or demanded a trade publicly, or skipped meetings, well then sure, he'd be a distraction. Then maybe the Browns could justify not starting him. But they don't have that excuse. What they have is a young quarterback being more professional than half the veterans in the building, and a chance to either seize the moment, or sell it. That's what this all comes down to. Are the Browns ready to take the risk that could finally save their franchise? Or are they going to let another one get away? Because if they let him go and Green Bay gets him, that's it. That's your legacy. That's the story that gets told every time someone says, what went wrong in Cleveland? It won't be about the missed kicks, or the bad draft picks, or the blown leads. It'll be this. The moment they had the quarterback, and they blinked. Let me be crystal clear. You don't get a second chance at this. There's no next Shedeur. There's no redo on trading away a generational player before he ever got a chance to prove it. So here's the final pitch to Cleveland, to Stefanski, to whoever is making the calls behind the scenes. Let him play. Not next week. Not when it's mathematically necessary. No. Let him go out there and make mistakes. Let him throw deep. Let him command the huddle. Let him live up to the hype, or at the very least, let him try. Because until you do, all you've got is noise. And noise doesn't win games. But talent does. Leadership does. Shedeur does. And Green Bay knows it. Right now, the Browns are standing on the edge of a cliff, with the entire football world watching. They've got two paths. One is familiar. Safe. Sterile. You take the trade. You get the picks. You stack the war chest and start the whole trust the process cycle again. You make vague promises about the future and try to convince everyone that Shedeur Sanders was never really the plan. But come on, we all know how that story ends. That's the path of regret. Because when Shedeur walks into Lambeau Field, gets the start and starts doing what he was always going to do, making plays, leading huddles, extending drives, creating energy, you're not just losing a player. You're watching your future unfold in someone else's uniform. And the other path? That one takes guts. That path means looking the pressure in the face and saying, "We're ready now." It means pushing the noise aside, silencing the doubt, and handing the ball to a quarterback who, despite everything, has done nothing but earn it. You start Shedeur. And you live with the outcome. Not because you're desperate, but because you finally realize you don't have to look elsewhere for answers. He's been in your locker room this entire time. That's the move that changes everything. That's the move that flips the story from dysfunction to destiny. Because when Shedeur steps on that field and that stadium erupts, when he completes his first deep ball, when he commands the huddle, when the team rallies behind him, not because they're told to, but because they want to, everything changes. The headlines, the fans, the direction of the franchise. And that moment is still within reach. But not for long. Because the longer the Browns wait, the more likely this ends with a trade. A press release. A farewell post. A "we thank him for his time" tweet that no one believes. And if that happens, well, then you weren't just the team that couldn't find a quarterback. You became the team that had one, and gave him away. So Cleveland? You've got the spark. You've got the guy. You've got the fans begging for a reason to believe. All you have to do is light the match. Let's hear it. Are you riding with Shedeur? Or are you hitting the eject button before he ever gets the shot? Drop your take in the comments. And if you live for franchise meltdowns, trade rumors, and QB drama that feels more like a Netflix original than a football story, hit subscribe. Because the Shedeur Sanders saga? It's not just a moment. It's a movement.